In war-torn Syria, the ancient Druze community faces a new crisis, caught between violence, shifting alliances, and survival. Recent attacks in Suwaida have drawn in regional powers, turning local strife into a geopolitical flashpoint. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has vowed to protect the Druze, but in Syria, such promises are often political tools. Clashes between Druze militias and ISIS-linked extremists have left devastation in their wake. Israel, sharing both a border and kinship with the Druze, responded with targeted airstrikes, escalating the conflict. The Druze, historically neutral, now find their autonomy under threat from all sides: extremists, the Assad regime, and foreign intervention. For the Druze, this is about more than politics. It's about the survival of their families and culture. Assad's pledge to protect the Druze is seen by many as a calculated move, not a genuine guarantee. The Syrian state's inability to secure Suwaida for years makes this sudden promise suspect. The Druze are left questioning who, if anyone, will truly stand by them. Their neutrality is being tested as never before. Each external force, Assad, Israel, extremists, has its own agenda. The Druze must navigate these treacherous waters to safeguard their future. In this volatile landscape, every promise comes with a price. The Druze are caught in a struggle that is both deeply personal and dangerously political. The Druze are a unique religious minority, their faith secretive and their identity distinct. Concentrated in Syria's Jabal al-Druze, they've survived centuries by balancing loyalty to their community with pragmatic alliances. Historically, they've pledged allegiance to ruling powers for autonomy, not out of shifting loyalties, but for survival. During Syria's civil war, the Druze formed self-defense militias, resisting involvement in broader sectarian conflict. This fragile neutrality has now been shattered by recent attacks. The Druze's position is complicated by strong ties to Israeli Druze, who serve in the IDF and advocate for their Syrian kin. Violence against Syrian Druze resonates deeply in Israel, making it both a foreign and domestic issue. The Druze now face unprecedented pressure to choose sides. The violence in Suwaida erupted after months of lawlessness and the rise of extremist cells, remnants of ISIS. These groups exploited the security vacuum, launching attacks on Druze villages and overwhelming local militias. The brutal assaults caused civilian casualties and mass displacement, shattering the community's sense of security. Agriculture and aid routes were disrupted, deepening the crisis. The Druze, once stable and self-sufficient, were forced to appeal for help beyond their borders. Their pleas went to Damascus, Israel, and the international community. The Syrian state's failure to protect its citizens was laid bare. The crisis set the stage for outside intervention. The Druze's vulnerability was exposed to the world. Israel watched Suwaida's crisis with alarm, pressured by its own Druze citizens to act. As extremist attacks intensified, Israeli jets struck targets threatening Druze villages, crossing into Syrian airspace despite the risks. The intervention was limited but sent a clear message. Massacres of Druze civilians would not be tolerated. Israel's motives were both humanitarian and strategic, protecting its border and responding to its Druze community. This marked a rare, overt intervention on behalf of a Syrian minority. The airstrikes blunted the extremist offensive, but deepened Israel's entanglement in Syria. Israel now finds itself a de facto protector of the Druze. The move could draw it further into future conflicts. Assad's regime quickly seized the narrative after Israel's intervention, vowing to defend the Druze as a sovereign duty. But this promise is a calculated move to reassert control over Suwaida and dissolve Druze autonomy. Assad offers protection in exchange for submission, using the threat of extremists to pressure the Druze. Accepting Assad's help means losing independence. Refusing risks annihilation. Assad's vow also challenges Israel's role, aiming to push it out and re-establish authority along the border. The Druze are caught between two powers, each using them as leverage. Assad's promise is less about protection, more about consolidating power. The Druze must weigh survival against autonomy. Their fate is now a pawn in a larger regional struggle. The Druze stand at a crossroads, forced to choose between aligning with Assad, seeking Israeli protection, or clinging to neutrality. Siding with Assad offers security, but costs autonomy and risks conscription. Turning to Israel ensures protection, but invites regime retaliation and deeper conflict. Maintaining neutrality is increasingly untenable as external pressures mount. The Druze's decision will shape not only their future, but also the region's fragile balance. Their plight is a microcosm of the Middle East, ancient identities, modern power struggles, and the search for coexistence. As they navigate these perilous choices, the Druze embody the struggle of minorities everywhere. In a fractured land, their survival hangs in the balance.